The topic for tonight is what is platform product management? My name is Sophie Baer. I am a PM on the payments platform team at Airbnb. And before I dive into platform product management, I just wanted to give you some background about my career and how I got into product management. It might be useful for you if you're looking to make a move into product management. I started at Airbnb in 2011, and it was kind of weird because I was living in Argentina at the time, and my grandma used Airbnb for the first time to visit my cousin. And then she called my mom, and she was like, wow, this site is really cool. You should look at it. And my mom looked at it, and she saw that they were hiring, and she sent it to me because I was looking for remote work. And so I interviewed for a customer service position at Airbnb, and the first interview question that they were asking at that time, which is no longer on the roster, but it is, how would you explain Airbnb to your grandma? And she actually had explained it to me, so in the interview notes, apparently it was written that I was a third-generation Airbnber, which was very exotic. And so I got the customer service job and was working as a remote customer service agent. I am also Canadian, which you're probably asking yourself what that has to do with anything, but in Quebec specifically, there is one bank that almost everybody uses called Desjardins. And that bank has a very specific sign-up flow that you need to use if you want to receive money into your bank account. And so hosts were having a lot of trouble adding those details to the Airbnb website. And I called my bank, because I have an account there, and I asked them how to do it, and I wrote a little FAQ, and one of the engineers published it onto the website. And then the gossip was, oh, Sophie is so good at payments, which I was just being Canadian, I guess. And so on the customer service team, they actually started a little team specifically dedicated to payments issues, and I was on that team. And this is sort of where I'm going with all of this. As a product manager, one of the key things that you can do is know your product. And when I was on the customer service team, I just gained a very, very broad and in-depth understanding of the payments product at Airbnb. And that, as a tool for a product manager, is really, really, really important. Another thing that I got by being kind of annoying was actually access to our data at Airbnb. So one of the things that, as a customer service representative, you kind of notice, like you'll get a call, and then you'll get the same call, and you'll get the same call, and you're wondering, like, am I just unlucky, or is something actually happening, and there's a bug in our system, and something's wrong? And so I told the engineers, if you give me access to this data, then I will tell you, when bugs are happening, I'll help you. And they said no. And then I asked again and again, and with enough pestering, I actually got access to our data at Airbnb. And to my credit, I only wrote one bad query, and it only slowed down the site for a little bit. So this was kind of like a long time ago. We didn't have the data platform that we have today. I was querying directly into the master DB. It was kind of crazy. But it definitely gave me a lot of data skills, and those data skills allowed me to transition into a product specialist role where I was analyzing the ticket trends and feeding that into product management to say, like, if you do this, we'll see a decrease in tickets here. And that's kind of the second skill that I think for any product manager is going to be really, really helpful. You need to be able to prioritize the things that you do, and having data skills, not just querying, but also thinking about what the data that the queries are giving you and how that translates back into product is going to be a really, really helpful skill. So that was my first 2 jobs at Airbnb. And there was a payments product manager who approached me, and he said, do you want to be where the sausages are made? Which is kind of weird because I'm a vegetarian, but I was interested. And I joined the product team in 2014 and moved to San Francisco. And I've been on the payments product team since then, and mostly working on our payments and payouts. So if you think part of belonging anywhere at Airbnb is being paid or getting paid like a local in your local currency. So most of what I did from 2014 to 2017 was integrate into local processors and help expand our currency offerings. That's my first kid. So I went on a little bit of a break in 2017, and when I came back, we had really undertaken a lot of our platformization efforts in earnest. And what I've been working on for the past year and a half is an order management platform. So when you think of order management, you can think of, I want to book something on Airbnb, and that could be anything. It could be a home, it could be an experience, it could be like a corgi rental. Who knows where we're going? Just teeing up the corgi rental thing, yeah. And also on our payout side, so for hosts, if you're a host on Airbnb, you should be able to get paid and have access to a suite of features around that payout, regardless of what you're doing on the platform. So it shouldn't be like if you're an experience host, you have access to some features, and if you're a home host, you have access to others. So those are the two platforms that I've been working on for the past year and a half. So to make this more fun, I thought we could do like a little drinking game or something where every time I say platform product management, you take a drink. Totally optional and up to you. This is the roadmap though. We'll talk about what platform product management is, when you need it, how is it different, and how to deliver from day one. That how to deliver from day one part seemed a little bit ambitious of me to say, so it is also just how to not make the same mistakes that I made in platform product management. What is platform product management? I guess before I dive into this, there's a lot of payments references sprinkled through this presentation. So in addition to platform product management, you'll also get some useful payments tidbits. And Braintree is a payments gateway. This is from their blog. Platforms exist to make it easier to solve a problem that's common to multiple businesses or products. I also have a definition. A platform is a product solution that is extensible, scalable, and allows you to leverage the same solution more than once. So what does this look like in practice? This is Airbnb's first foray into, Airbnb payments, I should say, into platform prioritization. So this diagram that I drew, it's pretty sweet, and it's Airbnb circa 2010. So as a guest, you pay in, and as a host, you get paid. We don't have any options for you. There's just one way you can pay, and there's one way you can get paid. This is very classic startup. Early adopters are going to be totally fine with this. They're not going to ask to be paid in their local currency. They're not going to ask for fancy things, you know. However, like I said, we really wanted to double down on our local payment strategy. I think in payments, our slogan is more human, less transactional. And if you're thinking about how you have to pay, if it like is something that is not totally intuitive, then you're going to think a lot about the transaction, and you're really going to move away from the human aspect of Airbnb. So from 2010 onwards, we really doubled down on adding more processors and adding more and more local currencies, local payment capabilities. And same thing for hosts. If you're getting your money and it's not in your local currency and you have to deal with some FX conversions or you have to deal with long delays, that's terrible. So our code base, which is just called Monorail, basically, it's all one code base at this time, starts to look like a rainy day here. Like, this is crazy. And for each of these processes that we're integrating, we're basically going from A to B. You know, we want to charge the guest, but every time we're kind of taking a different route. So it became really confusing for us to think about how we landed on that particular route for that particular processor. And so our first platformization effort is called Gibraltar. The reason we chose the cute little name Gibraltar is because that's actually a gateway into the Mediterranean. I've never been there, but apparently it's beautiful. And so with this payments gateway, we actually standardize all of the APIs into charge, refund, pay out to a host. And this allows us, anytime we want to go from A to B and add a new processor, we're always following the same path. So that's the extensible solution to any payment processor. It's scalable because we can do it over and over again, and it provides a huge amount of leverage to our team because anytime we want to do this, we know how to go local, we know how to do it. So this is all under the hood. This isn't something you're going to see if you go to Airbnb today. If you do see it, this, however, is our checkout page. So if you are booking a house on Airbnb, this is what you would see. And I mentioned earlier, Airbnb, we used to be all about finding a unique space, but we are also all about unique experiences now that are hosted by locals. So when we first started thinking about that concept, we realized we didn't want there to be one way for you to pay for a home and another way for you to pay for an experience. That would actually end up in the payments team having to do twice the amount of work. When you're collecting credit card numbers and stuff, there's a lot of compliance and regulatory things that you have to do. And if we had to have that on two sets of checkout pages, one for experiences and one for homes, that would put a huge burden on our team. We would lose a lot of leverage. So this is actually also a platform under the hood. And what's really special about this is we've actually divided it up into things that are tailored to the businesses. So I mentioned earlier, like maybe there's a corgi rental thing that's going to happen at Airbnb. And if they were to do that, if we were to do that, you could customize. Maybe instead of saying this is a rare find, you want to say don't forget to bring a leash, something like that. Totally customizable. Payments doesn't, as a team, lets you do that. Other parts of this page, though, are configurable. So you can't actually change them, but you can toggle some options on and off there. And then lastly, you've got these customizable parts where you can customize your cancellation policy, but it's always going to appear in the same place on the page. So this is an example of a platform that's much more user-facing, but it's still standardized across all of the verticals. Cool. So that was what is platform product management. When do you need platform product management? Yeah, I don't have the magic timing answer here. Not too early, not too late. So if you platformize too early, you will probably invest in your product, and you'll end up with something that's very extensible that is being used for one use case. That's going to delay your go-to-market, and it's too much for what you need. If you platformize too late, then you'll lose economies of scale and you'll increase your migration cost. So if you platformize too late, then you're going to end up having to migrate a lot of the existing use cases on. So if you think about the example that I showed earlier where we had lots of processors going into Monorail, we definitely had a migration cost when we moved over to our platform because we didn't want to just turn off all of the payment methods that we had made available to guests. We wanted to migrate them onto our platform. So how do you get the timing right? This shouldn't be that surprising, but it's tricky to do. You need to understand the long-term vision and strategy of your company. And this is where a really good platform product manager is going to excel. They're going to know the direction of the company, and they're going to be able to anticipate and build the right platform ahead of time. So there's a lot of ways to do this, but I think getting plugged into the right road mapping sessions, having coffee chats with other product managers, understanding where they're going. This is where your ability to network and to understand where your company is going is going to really help you excel as a platform product manager. How is platform product management different? So there's 3 things that I'll call out here. Your main stakeholders as a platform product management are going to be other product managers, other people in product, engineers, data scientists. You're going to be one step removed from end users. I actually think this is one of the most fun things about platform product management. I just really enjoy working with other product managers. I enjoy working with engineers. I think this is a really fun space. Not that guests and hosts aren't great. It's just this is the kind of thing that I enjoy doing. The type of problems that you're going to solve as a platform product manager are going to be slightly different. You're going to be thinking a lot about computer science problems. If systems architecture is interesting to you, upgrade strategies, things like that. In addition, you're going to have a lot of complex prioritization problems because you're going to be thinking horizontally and all of your customers are thinking vertically about what they want, and you're going to have to prioritize those. So if you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to prioritize my to-do list, then platform product management might be for you. If you're like, ugh, I hate prioritizing things, then I guess you can compare this maybe with rapid fire experimentation. A lot of growth PMs, they're going to think of an idea, they're going to go and they're going to experiment on it. It's going to work, it's not going to work. They'll move to the next thing. Those are the kind of, that's the difference really with platform program management. If you really like experimentation and you also want to do platform product management, there is a huge space in experimentation platforms. So you can combine the two. Lastly, your product view is just going to be much more around long-term sustainability. So one of the things that I learned as a product manager is you should always go for the quick wins, like get those quick wins out the door. And as a platform product manager, you don't necessarily want to focus on quick wins if it will be detrimental to your long-term strategy. So there might be something really small that you can do today that would make somebody very vocal or very important, very happy. However, it could actually compromise your long-term strategy because that small thing will not be sustainable. So in terms of product management, this is a pretty big shift. At least it was for me when I started going into this area. You don't want to do the easiest, quickest win. You really want to think about things long-term. What skills do you need to succeed? Well, I think these skills should actually be in any PM toolbox. And I don't think the question that you should be asking yourself is like, what skills do I need to succeed? It should be, do I enjoy doing these things? And I think that's really going to show. A lot of people get frustrated with platform product management because you're kind of squeezed in the middle. Nobody's really happy with you, but you have a very hard job. So you should really ask yourself, like, are these things that I enjoy doing? And then if they are, you'll be really excited about platform product management. I don't think anyone's playing the drinking game, which is probably good because I've said platform product management quite a lot. So firstly, a skill that you need is the ability to understand and weigh in on typical engineering problems. You'll see this one a lot on like the internet and blogs about platform product management. You need to be technical. I get a little annoyed about it. I actually don't come from a technical background. I've learned all these things. I checked on product school before I came here. They offer coding and data analysis classes. These are skills that you can learn. The question that you should be asking yourself is, do I enjoy talking about these problems? Like, are you excited when you're talking about systems architecture? Like, ooh, is that cool? Like, I really enjoy that, so I'm very happy where I am. But if you're not excited about these types of problems, then you're going to learn a skill that you won't be able to really bring any joy to. Yeah, consistency in distributed systems. You're going to have like lots of different systems. How do they talk to each other? How do they stay in sync? Some people's eyes are glowing. Other people, maybe not so much. Just something you want to think about. Your key customers here are going to be engineers. And if you're excited about solving the problems that they think are important, then that's really going to show in how you do your job. Alignment superpowers. So any product manager is going to have to get leadership to align around the goals that they're driving and their roadmap. A platform product manager is going to have to do that multiple times because, again, you're serving many customers across your roadmap. So, and you're not going to satisfy everything that they want. If you can, let's talk after because that would be impressive. So you really need to have alignment superpowers, and this is something that you have to like doing, is just going in there and making sure that everyone is aligned on what you're delivering for them. Ruthless prioritization. Any PM should probably have this skill. It is even more important for platform product managers because of the stickiness of a platform. Anything that you introduce into your platform, people will start using that feature, and they will love it, and it will never go away, and you'll always have to maintain it. Being a little dramatic there, but it is definitely, if you like saying no and if you're good at ruthless prioritization, that is an excellent skill to have as a platform product manager. Plan for the long term. On Airbnb, did you know you can book 5 years out? Yeah. If that's you, then you might like platform product management as well, because you definitely need to be the kind of person that is looking 3 or 4 steps down the line. You want to have a very long-term roadmap because your products will take longer to ship, and so you're going to have to be a couple steps ahead. Cool. Like I mentioned, I came back from my maternity leave in 2018, and I started working on Airbnb's order management platform. So that's if you're booking a home or an experience or anything on Airbnb, how do we keep that booking? And I made a lot of mistakes. So these are just my learnings from the project that I've been working on the past 1.5 years. Hopefully it's helpful to you. Goal setting is hard. It's worthwhile to spend a lot of time making sure you get it right. So because the project that I was working on was actually a migration, we had existing homes reservations and experience reservations, and we were just migrating them to a common platform. I thought, oh, my goal will just be 100% of homes and experience reservations are going through the new platform. Goal achieved. And that actually didn't necessarily drive platform goals. So these are typical platform goals. You want to have availability of your service. You want to have usage of your APIs. You want to have things like latency and performance. In addition, the thing I didn't realize was that I needed to understand how platform goals were driving or unlocking key company metrics. So Airbnb, you can think, naturally, we think a lot about nights booked. And so these platform goals, I wasn't thinking about them directly in terms of how they drove the company's goals. Once you understand the link between what your platform is unlocking and the company's goals, you're going to have a really powerful narrative that is going to get you a lot of buy-in when you're talking to all of your customers. So one concrete example here is we've noticed that performance actually directly leads to more nights booked. And that's the case with anything that you're buying. You know, if you're just sitting there watching a spinning wheel, you might drop off of the transaction. Same thing, we noticed availability has a direct link to customer service contacts. So if our site goes down, people will pick up the phone and they're like, hey, what's going on? So if we have higher availability, we're also able to drive these growth goals. And understanding that link is really powerful, and it wasn't immediately apparent to me when I was thinking about platformization. I don't want to scare you, but you will have a long-term roadmap, and it's good to just be very paranoid about your roadmap. Some people say PMs should always be recruiting. I think you should just always be paranoid. And this is, I made this up. Sorry, I don't know. I was like kind of in a corgi mood when I was thinking through this deck. So in H1, I'm so excited about your platform. It solves all of my payments problems. Whoa. And in H2, you come back. You've got the platform solution. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, payments, but we're not doing that anymore. We're bartering. Corgis, that's our thing. So you've got your platform built. Your customer no longer wants it. This is a bummer. You can avoid this by applying the always be paranoid mindset. And you can do these things for any type of product management. But again, understanding that link between your platform metrics and your business metrics is really key. If you can go to a business or a customer of your platform and say, I'm going to drive this growth metric for you, they're going to want to get onto your platform, and they're not going to pivot to something else or find another solution while they're waiting for you to come back with your solution. And then the second piece here is continuously deliver value via small milestones. So when I first started working on the order management project, I was kind of like, cool, we've got this giant hamburger, team swarm, eat it. And a couple of months in, I realized like we hadn't really delivered on anything yet. And it's because everybody was just working through parts with the end goal in mind, and we weren't bringing anything to market. So I'm sorry if this hamburgers thing is a little weird, but if you focus on sliders, then you're going to have a lot more success. So one way to do that is to have like a beta launch where it's internal employees only. You can show how your platform is driving the key metrics that you want to unlock, but you don't necessarily have the risk of doing a public launch. You can focus on a market, you can focus on one feature. There's a lot of ways that you can split up a platform so that you're continuously delivering value to your customers without making them wait kind of for that giant hamburger that would be so perfect and so delicious. If somebody's hungry, they'll eat the slider. It doesn't matter. Okay, that's the last hamburger metaphor for the night too. And lastly, over-explain what you're doing. The more people understand what's going on, the more you're in touch with all of your customers, then the better off you're going to be. The less likely that you're going to be in this situation where people just don't need what you're delivering. So if you look back at this, the problem isn't actually in H2 with the bartering with corgis. The problem here is in H1. You can see what this person is saying. They're like, I'm so excited about your platform that solves all my payments problems. Like, that's not what I was building. Like, that is so vague and so general that it's pretty clear that that person didn't have a clear understanding of what the platform solution was being delivered. So if you're over-explaining and you're really digging in and your customers understand exactly what they're getting, then it's much less likely that you'll be out of sync with them. Think first, build second. This one is just the fact that it's really hard to take away a feature. And so everything you incorporate into your platform will become sticky. And invariable, people will latch onto that one thing and they will want it forever. So before you build anything into your platform, you need to ask yourself, is this extensible? Is this scalable? If not, say no gracefully. A good example for this at Airbnb is actually we spent a lot of time building out features for our customer service agents to make sure that they could satisfy almost any request. And now as we're thinking about a platform, it's becoming very hard to support some of those features. One of them is adding a coupon after you've booked a reservation. So if you read our FAQs, it says this is not allowed, and it's not allowed. However, due to some loophole, there's a handful of customer service agents who actually have the ability to do this. It doesn't apply to all types of products at Airbnb, and it's not all types of agents, so it's really weird. That said, that handful of people is very, very passionate about their ability to help people and making sure that they can still do this. And when we're thinking about if we bring this onto our platform, it's really difficult because it's not something that scales easily. It's not something that we want to maintain. It doesn't drive any of our key metrics that we talked about earlier, but we have this very, very vocal group who wants to keep it around as a feature. If we bring this onto our platform, then we have to support it. It's going to be very sticky, and it'll be just something that we have to maintain. And this is the last one that I'll mention, but over-explain and don't oversell. So when I first started on this project, I was running around Airbnb. I was just like, I'm building a platform. It's really cool. And everyone was like, great. And that was it. And everybody was kind of coming back to me, hey, I'm pretty sure your platform's going to solve X, Y, Z. And what I was building was not solving any of those problems. And that was when I realized I had just gone and oversold what I was doing and not explained it. So this slide is a little text heavy, but because platforms can be more technical and they're one step removed from users, platform product management can be harder to understand. In addition, you have to think every one of your customers is trying to drive their goals. Like, the key to being a good PM is to create a vision and then execute on that vision. So if I'm going to a PM and I'm saying like, oh yeah, I'll have this ready in a couple of months, they're like, no, I need to execute on my vision now. And it's not going to be immediately apparent to them why you are prioritizing things the way you are. They're thinking of their immediate needs. They're not thinking of another team or another business's immediate needs. And so that's where, it's going to be hard for you to communicate your strategy and for you to create that empathy in other people. And that's where, the alignment piece comes in. So you're really just walking a tightrope between explaining how your platform strategy fits into someone else's vision and roadmap. But I've noticed, at least for me, once I understand their vision and roadmap, then I really want to kind of sell. And you want to make sure you're not overselling, that you're actually clearly stating how it ties in without going over the other side of the tightrope and overselling yourself. Cool. So to recap on the roadmap, platform product management is when you're building an extensible and scalable solution that provides leverage to solve the same problem multiple times. You need platform product management. Not too early, but not too late. Right in that sweet spot. Platform product management is different for 3 reasons. Your end customers are going to be product managers, engineers, and data scientists, as opposed to the end users. The problems that you're going to be solving are usually going to be more technical, and your roadmap is going to be a lot longer term. And then how to deliver from day one, there is over-explain, don't oversell, think first, build second, always be paranoid, and make sure that you're setting your goals in a way that drives not only your platform goals, but also your company's